Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Chris coming at you with another episode to the Beautiful Struggle podcast. And as you can see, we have a guest on today. Before I introduce him, if you are new to the Beautiful Struggle podcast, this is a business and personal development podcast. And really, my goal for this podcast is to empower people to live the life that they deserve. Right? So I'm super passionate about sharing information and creating that exposure for you guys so you guys can live that life that you guys deserve. And my guest on today, I believe he's going to definitely help out with that. He's an entrepreneur. He's a registered nurse. He's a husband. And he's the owner of the Parable podcast, right? And so this podcast is super dope. It's actually kind of similar to mine. I look up to him already, but super dope podcast, also a business podcast. He has phenomenal guests on his podcast, and he's really doing some big thing in the podcast land. Ejay Cruz, everybody.
Hey man, I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for coming through, man.
Yeah, beautiful setup here, as you can see, something really different. Before we dive into your story and whatnot, I have to tell the people how I came across you. I don't know if you know this, or I don't know if I told you or not, but so I was on Instagram and I seen people wearing your merch.
Okay.
A couple different people. I don't even know who they were, but I click on it. Oh, okay, this guy has a podcast.
Yeah.
It's cool. And then Matt, shout out to Matt. Mm-hmm. I think he was filming with you, or maybe he was wearing your merch.
Yeah.
Then from there, I was like, okay, followed you. And then from there led to a phone call. And then from there, here we are.
Yeah, dude.
Pretty dope. Yeah. Great dude. But thank you for coming on. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no worries, man, dude. It's interesting because you say I inspire you, or you
Mm-hmm.
look up to me, but I gotta say it's likewise for sure,
Mm-hmm.
man. When I see what you're doing, obviously I go back to a time where I was kind of starting out and doing my thing, and it makes me so happy because, as you know, we've had this conversation off camera, right? I know what podcasting does. You know what I'm saying? I know what it does for me, and I know what it does for the world. And to see you doing it also makes me so happy because if you don't notice already, I encourage so many people. And as you know, I love to help as many people as I can to get on this platform, man, because it's still new and people don't really know what its power. You know what I'm saying? I am seeing it firsthand, and I still feel like I'm still a rookie in the game. Been a year and a half since I've been doing it. So again, I applaud you, man, for, it's a lot of hard work. I know a lot of people kind of see this and it looks fun, but in reality, it is a lot of hard work, but it is fun on top of that. That's just like the icing on the cake, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So again, I applaud you, bro.
Yeah, appreciate that. So yeah, let's just get into it. I would love to know a little bit about your background, your upbringing, where you grew up at, and yeah, we can start there.
Yeah. So I don't have like this crazy story of my upbringing. Usually like the type of you'll hear like this most crazy adversity story of like, I don't know, being homeless, having a broken family, things like that, man. My parents, immigrated from a third world country, Philippines. They came over here and they just basically worked their asses off, right? And I like to tell everyone that my upbringing was very, very good. Like in the terms of parents loved me. They gave me everything I needed to succeed. You know what I'm saying? Kind of jumping forward, but when I was born in Bellflower, actually, my parents were still working their asses off, establishing themselves over here, and they actually sent me to the Philippines like for a whole year. So I actually spent my first birthday there, and I always have this story, this story I tell because it's actually a lot deeper when I think about it. But they sent me to the Philippines for 1 year, and then I come back. And my mom always told me the story like I was detached from her. Because, I didn't see her for a year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I kind of she was foreign to me.
Yeah,
I was like, who's this person?
Absolutely.
So that always hits her. But, so came back, obviously, so I was U.S. born, went to Philippines, came back. And again, life was beautiful, man. We moved to Corona, Riverside area around when I was like 5-6 years old. And, I always tell the story too. I feel like my parents were like kind of like almost opposite, where my dad was very, very tough. He was very serious, very, very strict. And he showed his love in a very like hard way. obviously when you look back, you're like, man, that was actually just tough love. Like he loved me, you know what I'm saying? But growing up as a kid, of course, you just don't realize that. My mom, on the other hand, very, very empathetic, very loving. They would always clash just because of that. My mom would be like, hey, like, you got to watch what you say. Like, you're too hard, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's just a kid, you know? So mom's registered nurse working full time day shift, and then my dad full time night shift working at the Santa Ana post office. Again, my mom being a nurse, dad being in the post office, right? It's almost like I didn't see, like I was missing that second part of my parents, right? You got to think about it. So my mom would be working throughout the whole day. She comes home late, right? And then my dad would be working nights, but then when he comes home during the day, he's sleeping. You get what I'm saying? So it's not like, I just like the typical family, like, always hardworking and you wouldn't see him. But I almost felt like because my dad worked night shift, I didn't get to see that other side of him too because he's sleeping. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, just growing up, dude, like I said, man, everything was good. Like I did feel that like I had it better than other kids.
Right.
Like, dude, I had like the new kicks, man. I had every time like the Grant Hill Feelers come out, you know what I'm saying? I had the Chuck Taylors, like, you know what I'm saying? And I think one story that always sticks out to me that I always remembered, because my mom would always tell me this, when she had a lot of siblings, I'm talking like 9+, and she would always say like, back home in the Philippines, sometimes we would be sharing for food, like to eat. We would share just one fish, like literally like one fish. You know what I'm saying? I remember back then. I don't know. I forget how young you are, but back
25.
then, you're 25. Okay,
Okay.
so back then there was I think it's called the Brain, the yo-yo. It was like huge back then. It was like the toy, right? And I remember it was sold out everywhere. And one of the things I always remember was like I needed that toy, right? I was like, man, I need it, And we would, I think we went to Toys R Us, Target, or whatever it was. And dude, like we could not find it for the life of us. And this is like my mom just pulled like a 12-hour shift, and I'm just like, hysteric because like I really want the toy. And she straight up goes, okay, look, it's really, really late. I'm tired, but we're going to check out one more store. And if it's not there, then it is what it is. But she just said, like, I don't want to see that look on your face. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know why, but just that particular story just hit me. Like, man, dude, like, she really wants me to be happy. You get what I'm saying? And kind of going back, I'm going all over the place. But to give you a glimpse also of, like, how hard my dad was on me, we used to play basketball. I was in, like the leagues and stuff. Like Corona League and things like that, right? And dude, after a game, if we would lose, my dad would always like be hard on me, like, dude, like, why weren't you like the point guard who was scoring all the points? Why ain't you like him? You know what I mean? How come you're not getting the ball? How come you're not making the shots? Blah blah blah.
Real tough love.
Yeah. Like, I'd be crying in the back seat, and my parents would be clashing like crazy. Like my mom's like, "What the fuck? Like, why are you? What the hell's your problem?" And then my dad's just being real, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so yeah, just growing up, dude. Just again, I felt like I the best thing I will say about my childhood and growing up is the fact that even though I will admit there was stuff that was given to me and I had it better than other kids, and I knew that I recognized it slowly, But the thing is, my parents really instilled with me that life still requires a lot of hard work, for sure. Like, you still gotta work hard, dude. Like, you could be given everything in the world, but in reality, like, adulthood and society is gonna hit you. Like, real life's gonna hit you, and they're not always gonna be there to support me. You know what I mean? Like, what if they were? They'd always tell me, like, what if we were not to be here? How are you gonna survive? You gotta be thinking about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, and this goes. So fast forward. Growing up in high school, things got very, very involved with school. I always tell everyone I was a hustler in the sense that I didn't sell drugs, but anything I could get my hands on and I could come up on, and like money wise, I would flip it. I'm talking Pokemon cards. I'm talking about Pogs. I'm talking about Bubblicious bubble gum. I used to draw a lot. I used to sell drawings. You name it, dude. I used to flip anything I could, right? And I think that's what initially got me into, because I do a little e-com on the side, and I used to sell sneakers like crazy, bro. Back before like all the hype beasts came out and everything was hard to freaking buy online. Before all the bots and stuff, dude, I used to flip sneakers like crazy, right? And
Jordans and all that.
yeah, dude. I used to Gary V, bro, do the Craigslist thing. You know what I'm saying? Meet someone up and do the yeah. So
Yeah.
I used to flip anything I could, and eventually, long story short, I became a nurse. My mom, like I think I was around like 15. My parents got so sick of driving me everywhere because I was so involved with school, basketball, associated student body, like just everything. I was involved with school. When I was off of school, I need to go back to school. So my parents were just like so sick of driving me. By the time I was 15, that's like the minimum age or the age where you could get your driver's permit. I got it, and my mom just straight up was like, "Listen, I will get you the car a car, and I knew kids, I knew like friends and other kids who the parents wouldn't let them drive till they're 18, sometimes even 21. And my mom was like, you can start driving, I'll get you a car for you to drive, but you gotta take up nursing. In my head, and I'm like the young dude, I'm like, all right, cool. Like I'm down with that. Like I didn't know what the fuck I was,
Right,
I didn't know what nursing was. Like I knew what
Little
nursing
did
was,
you
but I didn't
know.
care about that. I was like, yeah, I got the car. That I went through my little fucking Fast and the Furious phase, man. Like I was into cars. We had the crew. It was fun, dude. Like just I think one of the things with like building, having your own car and you're styling it. It's like you're almost like displaying and expressing your personality, your style. You know what I'm saying? And got into all that, but basically, if you don't see it, and for everyone listening, my mom bribed me. Basically, she's like, "Okay, gonna get you this car, but hey, listen, you gotta take up nursing." And here I am, like, yeah, whatever. I just want the car. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So little did I know, got into nursing, man, and I will, fast forward, and I will say it was like one of the hardest things I ever had to
Oh
do
man.
because most of the time for people who don't notice who get into the healthcare field, you usually have some sort of background, whether you're a nurse's aide, whether a medical assistant, whatever it may be. I didn't even take medical terminology, so I got in there. Not only was I one of maybe three males because it's a woman dominant profession, but I was probably like second to youngest, so I struggled like crazy. Of course, no one took me serious. I was very very overweight. That was actually my biggest at the time. I was very immature because I just I didn't know anything. You know what I'm saying? I really did not know anything, and I knew some of my professors. I would say would like they were counting me out already. They're like, man, I don't think this kid's gonna survive. You know what I'm saying? But for whatever reason, I'm talking like it was so difficult. I was on academic probation for
Oh
like
yeah,
all 3 semesters.
nursing is tough. Like I know people that are in nursing and they can't get anything lower than an A.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you
It's
know
that
what?
competitive as well.
What's crazy? Most programs now, whether I don't even know if it's like just healthcare related nowadays, because back then, right, it used to be like, oh, okay, as long as you don't get an F, you're cool. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, though, like the minimum to pass is like I think a 75%. I think they bumped it up to like 78% now.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the heck? Like,
Yeah.
what's the
Yeah.
why is there a grading scale now of like D and F if
Yeah.
like the C grade is the one that's passing? So anyway, for us, it was like I think 75%. So anyway, but it's a 4 semester program, 2 years. I don't know what it was, but I struggled like crazy. But the fourth semester, man, something just clicked. I think it just finally like it just all clicked for me, and that's where I really thrived. Was that last semester? And what people don't real, you know how it is. There's always there's always like two different people when it comes to schooling. There's the people who are book smart like crazy, they're just talented, book smart, right? And then there's other people who have to put the time and work, like they really have to study, like they have to read the thing 3 times to
Me.
understand it. That's me too, right? So for whatever reason, again, and then it's also about because nursing is about real skills, like real practice skills, right? Hands-on stuff. So people would thrive in that too. So whatever it was, I thrived in the fourth semester, and I graduated and I passed my nursing licensing exam the first time. And that was kind of a big deal to me because a lot of people who were like the most talented got like the A's, the A pluses, and all that stuff. Some of those people didn't even pass the first time. You know what I'm saying? They instilled in school like, yo, don't be that person that don't fucking pass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta pass the first time. And it doesn't matter. I want to put out there because people are like, it's true. It doesn't matter. Like as long as you pass, you pass.
Right.
Like I know cats who freaking failed like 10 times, but they finally passed, and now they're living the life. They have their life. They're nurses. You only have to pass once, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? But I think the thing is just like, again, I was struggling like crazy, and I think I went through it, man. I went through it all, and it's crazy because I became a nurse when I was 23 years old, man.
Mm.
23 years old, and I want you to just imagine real quick, like you go from, I had to quit all my when I went to school, I had to quit my job, all that stuff, but going from like this immature kid who didn't know anything, was screwing around with his car, now he's a healthcare professional where dude, nursing is like the number one trusted profession in the world. I get hired at one of the highest paying jobs, and I luckily I get that job as a new grad, because at the time it's kind of weird. At the time when I was in nursing school, dude, they would like try to incentivize you or entice you, like, yeah, come join our hospital, we give you sign on bonus, here's some ice cream and all this shit, right? Like they entice you, like, yo, come work with us. And then like I think after everything happened with the downturn, the recession,
Mm-hmm.
and just everything.
2008.
Yeah, like, dude, all of a sudden it's hard to get a job.
Mm.
So again, thankfully for me, I got a job as a new grad at one of the highest paying hospitals. And where I was getting at is like, dude, I went from like this immature kid to all of a sudden like I'm making a lot of money. The money, like money that I'm not used to making.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell a story too. When I became a nurse, dude, the first month or two, I was making so much money that I was used to. I didn't even know what to do with it.
Mm.
You get what I'm saying? But so moving forward with that, man, I just with nursing, man, became a nurse very, very young, got my own place. So I would, to me, it was safe to say that, man, dude, and I look back at it, I found success at a young age, compared to like other
Mm-hmm.
people out there, like my friends, what I'm saying, people I hung out with, and I was just living life, man. I was still trying to figure it out, dude. I was still young. I
Absolutely.
was making a lot of money, so I had to learn how to manage my money, you know. And then I had a house,
Mm-hmm.
since I had a budget like crazy.
Where were you living at the time?
Down the street from here, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
I had my own condo, what I'm
Mm.
saying, and prices were super cheap because this was after the recession
Mm-hmm.
hit and the housing market went down, so I got it very, very cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And I still struggled though. I struggled with payments because I was only part time. And then I decided to go for whatever reason. I don't know why. I decided to go for my bachelor's and my master's degree in nursing, right? And I struggled, and this is when I really started selling sneakers, bro. Like I had to make extra money just to make the house payments, for my
Mm.
crib, and I didn't like to tell my parents that,
Yeah, absolutely.
Get home, my parents were freaking down the street for crying out loud, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And fast forward, man, so I was more than halfway done to become taking my master's degree and becoming a nurse practitioner, man. Nurse practitioners are so needed right now in the field. But there was still that entrepreneurial hustler side in me,
Mm-hmm.
man. And I always knew deep down inside, I just didn't know when. I always knew deep down inside, nursing wasn't always going to be my
Mm-hmm.
end game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I always knew there was something more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, more than halfway done with my nursing program, or my master's degree as a nurse practitioner, and dude, like after clinicals, like I just said, dude, this isn't for me, dude. So I dropped out. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And till this day, I'm still paying that school loan. Almost paid
Wow.
off, thank God.
That's
But
crazy.
a lot of people are always like, man, EJ, you should have just finished. Especially my mom, you hear your mom in the back. You
Oh,
should have
yeah.
finished.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Um, but long story short, I just knew that wasn't for me. Then eventually I got into management. So fast forward with my whole
Mm-hmm.
nursing career. I've been doing it for 10 years. I'm in
Mm-hmm.
nursing management now. But 3 years, like I said, there was something in me that knew like this wasn't my end game, and I wanted to pursue entrepreneurship. Fast forward again, 10 years, been doing it, doing nurse sam and nurse management, and then like again 4 years ago, I recognized that nursing wasn't going to be my end game. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to pursue something more. Because in my head, I'm always like, man, what's next? That's
Mm-hmm.
how I get bored easy. I call
Mm-hmm.
myself like a serial hobbyist. Like I just get bored, and I
Mm-hmm.
like to try new things.
Mm-hmm.
And
How do you know when it's the right time to go on to the next thing? Because I feel like I'm very similar
yeah,
to that. And for me, it's like once I feel like I hit a ceiling in whatever I was doing, it's like it's time to move on and do something
yeah.
else.
I think for me personally, I think it's a couple things. One is you're not excited no more. You
Mm-hmm.
have no enthusiasm to do it, right? To me, if you do something, if you're doing something that you love, you know what I'm saying, or you something that you enjoy, and that's not happening,
Mm-hmm.
then I feel like there's no passion behind it. There's no drive, right? You know what I'm saying? Second thing is you feel capped off, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you feel like you've conquered this part of your life or whatever it is.
You learned everything probably.
Yeah, yeah, and you feel like you can't, you can't evolve no more. Like there's
Mm,
nothing else to it. You get what I'm saying? That's
interesting.
for me. That's how I feel. And again, like I don't know, I'm different too because again, I like to try different things all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But see, the part is I'm glad you bring that up because there was a part in my nursing career where I really got so complacent and so comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I dug myself in a hole.
Mm.
Because again, I was making great money, had my crib, I was just doing the things that I wanted, but I wasn't happy there. You know what I'm saying? I was still not happy, and I'm still a nurse till this day, but I've been working my ass off for my exit strategy. And that's not to put out there that like, say for instance, like you see a nurse and like they don't seem passionate
Mm-hmm.
and like all that stuff, but I still do a great job at what I do, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like I feel like there's something missing, you know what I'm saying? I like to tell people like you got to be in a place where you got to be doing stuff that really drives you, you know what I'm saying? That you just got to challenge yourself, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like I've capped off
Mm-hmm.
basically. And because and I'm sure people are like, well, why don't you move up? Why don't you move up the ladder to nursing manager? So why don't you go director? Why don't you be like an executive or something? I'm not trying to do that because I already know my calling is somewhere else. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? I make an impact as a nurse. I make an impact in the community. So I'm trying to go worldwide now. I feel like I can't do that just being stuck at one hospital, at one medical center. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I'm sure there's clever ways you can, but that's not where I feel I'm at.
Mm.
So yeah, dude, I started like, so again, going back to, I had this itch for entrepreneurship. I always knew it was in my blood. I started putting myself out there, man. You got to start, I started reading books, started listening to podcasts. I started going to networking events. What I understood was, no one was going to hand anything to me.
Mm.
When it comes to opportunity, people are always like, yeah, I'm just waiting for the perfect
You gotta
opportunity. It's
go
like,
get it.
yeah, you got to create those opportunities for
Mm.
yourself. So, I just started doing that. I started joining a lot of, going to a lot of events. I started to put myself in foreign territory, meaning I would like to go to events, seminars, whatever, and I'd be like the lonely person. Like no one, how like every now and then you'll go to like an
Mm-hmm.
event and some people might know each other, like, hey, what's up, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
yeah.
Like, dude, I would go to places where I was like, I didn't know fucking nobody. You know what I'm saying? And, again, every now and then I would flip stuff, go back to my Gary Vee type of
Mm-hmm.
hustle. But yeah, dude, I just, for me, like, and it's kind of where I'm going through this different transition with my life right now. I used to always think like, man, I have to do something or sell something that I'm passionate about. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? And what I quickly realized, especially within this year, that's not the case, man. I feel like a lot of people are wasting their time trying to find what their passion or purpose is. And that's
Mm.
that's a terrible way of thinking about it because that stuff needs to be developed. You get what I'm saying? So what
Interesting.
I quickly realized was like for me, and this is we're going to be jumping to how I started my podcast. What I realized is like, dude, like my passion is people. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? My passion is people and networking. And I think that kind of stems back to my nursing career too, because you could imagine I would meet patients all the time. I would meet family members all the time, all like so many different people. And, you know, I realized I have a passion for people and networking and also
Mm.
conversations, right? And that's how my podcast came about. I thought to myself for the first time, it was kind of weird. I sat down and I was like, all right, EJ, what do you like to do? I literally got a freaking yellow notepad and I wrote down, okay, I love having conversations. I love people. I love to network. Then I realized, like, okay, how can I do that? And is there a possibility to make a career out of it? And is there a possibility to make money off of it?
Mm-hmm.
But for the first time ever, I put the money part on the least priority.
Yeah, the bottom.
Usually everything I look at, I'm like, okay, how can I
Number
come
one.
up? Again,
Yeah.
that's the hustler in me, right? But this time I was like, nah, like let me try to do something I really, really enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
where I could harness my strengths and what I love,
Mm.
and let me put the money thing on the back.
See, that's interesting that you, not to cut you off, that's interesting that you were talking about the passion and the purpose because I've been around people who are the same exact age as me and they're like talking to other people and they're like banging you on the head, like you need to find your purpose. You need to, and it's like, to me, like you said, it's a process, something that you have to develop and go through.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily going to find it at the age of 25,
Yeah.
It's interesting.
No, you just, some people are, have been blessed to find it at such an early age, right? There's other people, and not to get spiritual on you, but I'm a huge believer in God, and I feel like God will lead you towards your path.
Same.
You know what I'm saying? And again, you have to, your passion and purpose sometimes has to be developed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You will find that, but how do you find that? Again, you have to put yourself out there. You got to be making moves. You got to stay busy.
Yeah.
If you're just sitting around, staying at home, playing video games, not trying, challenging yourself, not trying different things, not trying to meet new people, how are you supposed to find it?
Exactly.
So I hate it. Like, that's a pet peeve of mine when people start saying like, oh, this is not happening for me, that's not happening for me, blah, 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 blah. And like, they're just using excuses. Yeah. And it's just kind of like, dude, like, well, what do you expect? You're not putting the work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're not putting yourself out there. You're not creating, we just spoke about this, you're not creating those opportunities for yourself. It's more like you're waiting for like someone to go grab you.
Yeah.
And I always have this saying, dude, stop waiting for people to empower you. Fucking empower yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like I know what it's like because I used to be that person. When I was unhappy and I got complacent with my nursing career, I was making excuses. You know what I'm saying? I quickly realized like, nah, dude, if I want to make a change, I got to change. I got to go out there and make these moves. You know what I'm saying? I got to put myself out there. I got to go see what's out there. There's another world out there that I know that I'm missing. And the only reason why I ain't seeing it is because I'm making, stupid excuses. Right. You know what I'm saying? So makes sense. Dude.
Yeah, no, that's big time. And, hearing your story, it reminds me of this book that I always talk about on the podcast. It's called The Way of the Superior Man. You heard of it?
I haven't, no.
You got to read it, bro.
Yeah.
You have to read the book. And so in there, he talks about finding your purpose, and finding your purpose is like peeling back the layers of an onion. And, hearing your story and even my story, like you try things, you go through things and you kind of get bored of it or you lose passion for it. So you rip off that layer and you keep going until you find that thing. Yeah. And so, I brought that up plenty of times on the podcast, but I think it's one of the most powerful things. And I let people know all the time, like you might not find it like at a young age what your purpose is, but you just got to keep peeling back those layers until you do find it.
Absolutely.
So now you're at a point where you're putting everything together. You're writing down like what your priorities are and what you like doing, and you come across the podcast.
Yeah, so I come across the podcast, man, and again, it just started off as an idea. It was very, very interesting because I just joined a entrepreneurial group, and it was just an idea. And
what is it called?
The RJ Syndicate.
Yes.
So the RJ Syndicate is an entrepreneurial group or society, you want to call it. Some people call it cult, whatever you
Secret
want to call
society?
it. Yeah. Whatever you want to call it. But it's founded by two huge entrepreneurs, Andy Frisell and Ed Milet. Yep. And it's just a group of remarkable people who are trying to be excellent in all areas of their life.
Powerful.
And there's a lot of people in SoCal that were in the group. We got together, and there was one day we had a meeting because we do have meetings. And one day we're just like, okay, what's your goal? What's your goal? What's your goal? And we all straight up were like, okay, what's your target date? We all like would write everyone's target date, their goal. We put it on our phones, and we were just like, all right, like this is talking about the ultimate accountability partners.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was just like, I was going through that whole analysis process. Again, guys, podcasting, I'm a fucking nurse. You know what I'm saying? I don't know shit. Right. And I just told you this. I was off camera with my pod. I still don't know anything. Like, I just know on and off and record and stop. Right? So I'm going through this analysis. So first off, I got that urgency because I had really, I have other entrepreneurs. I respect them, and I'm not trying to let them down, holding me accountable. Okay, all right, Ejay, you said October 2018, you're going to launch this podcast, so we're going to hold you to it. I'm like, crap.
You're like, damn.
Yeah, so here I am. I'm trying to scramble, like, okay, how to podcast, what equipment to use. And then, I got the very tech-savvy cousin, like, yo, Ejay, you need to buy this, and this, like a $10,000, like, setup. I'm like, no. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then I'm like, okay, knowing me, I have this saying, there's two things you can't take back in life. One is time, second is first impressions. So to me, when I when I release something or I'm doing something or a project or concept, to me it has to be good. or it has to be excellent or it has to be superior, right? Because it's a reflection of who I am. You know, like, you know, there's that saying like, yeah, just get started. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's not
Gary
not everything's gonna be like good, perfect, and that's
Gary Vee
true.
says it all the time.
That yeah, and it's true. Yeah, get started. You know what I'm saying? Just get started right away. Stop waiting. You know, just get it going because then you start learning doing all that stuff. But at the same time, there has to be a sense of quality with podcasting, bro. Like, if I was just to start right away, if I didn't know what I was doing, if I didn't care about the microphone, if I didn't care about quality, I would have put it out there, and the quality would have been trash. To me, first impressions is everything. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to make sure that at least what I do was good enough where people are like willing to listen and to watch, right?
Gotcha.
Imagine if your first couple episodes, the audio was terrible.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. They know, like, so because that was my thing. People, I mean, I was hearing just get started, just get started. So I was
Yeah.
like, just got started. Unfortunately, the first couple episodes were, I'm not gonna lie, trash. But I just left it on there so people can see the progression.
Yeah, but what's your definition of trash song? I'm talking about at least it's tolerable to the ear.
Okay.
See, that's different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What if it was like so bad that like it's like, dude, I can't even hear this guy, or I don't even know what they're saying. Like,
Yeah.
see, that's
Yeah,
different.
yeah,
I'm talking
definitely.
about like at least tolerable.
Yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So, you know, again, I just fast forward, man. I was scrambling. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I made it happen. And I launched the podcast 1 month prior to when my accountability partners. So I launched September 2018 instead of October.
So in the early stages, what was like the idea for the podcast?
Yeah. So the idea was just to sit down and chat with people who, you know, just have a very laid back conversation with them, and just talk about what they do, kind of like hear their story. You know, the parables, which is my podcast, by the way, for everyone's listening. It was definitely inspired by like short story long by drama.
Super dope.
Yeah, super dope, right? But I wanted to do my own spin to it a little bit. I kind of wanted to, like, you know, he gets friends. These are like high profile people. I wanted to get a mix of both. I wanted to get like people in the public eye, high profile people, and I also wanted to get people who I felt needed a voice.
Need a platform.
Yeah, I needed a voice, needed a platform. People who I feel who are not in the public eye, whose stories people need to hear, like people who are doing local community work that are killing it, that are doing impactful things. And so it initially started as like, okay, I want to get some people I know, right? Because I don't want to sit here and just have like a blank conversation with someone I don't know,
Right.
even though you could strike a conversation. Then it started picking up. It's like, man, this is cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then I had my own thing, like, you know, sign the canvas. You know what I'm saying?
dope.
So I tried to be different as best as I
Yeah.
could, right? And then eventually I started getting people that I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what? Let me get some people I don't know. Let's just see how this goes. Started getting people I don't know. Started taking off like crazy, man. The feedback was phenomenal. People were just like, man, dude, like, I started getting feedback. First, I realized, one, I was reaching cities and countries that I never thought I'd reach. Like, I started reaching, like, who the heck? I started to realize I was reaching countries I never even knew existed. I'm like,
Like
who the heck listens to me? Like, I think there's this country called Lakistan. It's like in Germany or something, or like around,
Yeah.
So, I started to like reach countries like out of nowhere. The country started to blow, you know, slowly start progress to more and more, like from like 5 countries to 10 countries to 20 countries. You know what I'm saying? Then I started getting people from different cities, like from coast to coast. Then this is where I knew, I was like, wow, this thing is really taking off. People started reposting, and then I was getting DMs like, EJ, this episode is so dope. Wow, I just listened to the Parables podcast with so and so. This is very inspirational. You need to listen. Like things like that. And now, fast forward, I get DMs daily, bro. From, man, EJ, this episode, you know, this incredible episode. You guys gotta listen to this Parable podcast. You know, super inspiring. This episode in particular inspired me. It made me want to start my this passion project that I never got to. Or EJ, this episode gave me the confidence to go into an interview. Just all this stuff, man. And like you said, like again, like it just like it like captured a lot of people's attention, dude. People really loved what it was about, what it meant. It wasn't just like, yeah, we have fun every now and then. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
That's me. You know, this is media, it's entertainment. But at the same time, there's meaning behind it. There's actually purpose behind it. You know, my goal is to magnify someone's impact and their message, whatever it is that we discussed, right? So not at the end of the day, like, I think a lot of people gravitated towards it, and I got a lot of support, especially from people I don't know, man. There's people who I don't know who support me more than the people I do know.
Man, let me tell you about that. Like oftentimes when I jump into things, like that happens to me all the time, and it doesn't always, it always blows me away that people that I don't even know, that maybe I've had a couple conversations, like will ride for me harder than people that have known me for like 10 plus years.
Yeah,
It's
man.
unbelievable.
It's eye opener, but I don't think it should hurt you.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It used to bother me a little bit,
Mhm.
just like a little bit,
Mhm.
because it just make me think like, who are my real friends? Who are my real family? You know what I'm saying? But I think my purpose and my mission with the podcast was
Mhm.
bigger than that.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Even with other stuff outside of podcasting, like
Mhm.
other business ventures I'm getting into, there's other people that support me that I just met. You know what I'm saying? Like die hard, like whether it's Parables fans, whether it's Ejay Cruz fans, I don't freaking know. But there's always gonna be people that support you, man. And those are the people that I owe it to.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And those are the people, like that's why I feel like I have an obligation now with my platform, because podcasting eventually led to speaking. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So to me, I feel I have an obligation because you never know who you're gonna touch, who you're
Mhm.
gonna inspire with your story. You know what I'm saying? Look at me. Like I have with my podcast, I have people who get inspired by my guest story,
Mhm.
but then I have a separate group of people who are inspired by my story.
Mhm.
Being that I was a nurse, now I'm trying to nurse
Yeah.
turn entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? So you just never know who you're gonna touch, man. And I feel currently now I have an obligation to really set that example for the world, but also again, going from nursing felt like my impact and influence was just within my community. Now, because I'm able to reach 60 countries now, you know what I'm saying? I feel like my impact is a
Yeah.
larger scale. Of course
Yeah.
it is.
Absolutely.
So yeah, man, it's just podcast has been wild, dude. Like again, that's why I applaud you because I know what it's done for me, what's doing for people. At the same time though, what the podcast has done for me is I've been able to establish an incredible network.
Yeah. You can talk about that.
Incredible network. So obviously, if you guys podcast and you do solo, it may be harder to
Mhm.
establish establish a network. But because I have guests, man, dude, like the networking itself has just been crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I haven't had the level of network that you have, but some of the people, like one of the guests that I've had on, like I'm potentially going to go into business with him.
Mm-hmm.
So just,
See.
and if I would have never sent that DM, reached out, like
Mm-hmm.
that would have never been a possibility, you
Yeah.
know?
There's a lot of people that it's the same. It's funny that you say that. I'm actually partnering up with someone on the business too, and it was because of my podcast. So, a couple things that have happened with my podcast since I've established it. One is, of course, I learned a lot about myself.
Hmm.
Second, I've been able to establish a huge network. Third, the people who have been on my podcast, like they've automatically empowered me to become this resourceful guy. Because now I got cats who are like doing business together as a result of my podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And then the other thing is just like you. Now I'm getting it. I'm doing business with other people who've been on my podcast,
Hmm.
or I've actually met people as a result of my podcast. Meaning
Hmm.
that I've had someone on my podcast. Obviously, because they love it, dude. They
Hmm.
they love what it's about. They get to learn about me. They know what I'm doing, and it kind of just establishes like who I am as a person, who I am, and what I'm about. So automatically, it's more like instead of like going out there trying to put my face out there in the world, which I still do. Don't get me wrong, but now it's like, hey, dude, like they're inviting me places now. They're introducing me to people without
Hmm.
even me asking them. So now I'm like one introduction leads to one another introduction to leads to another introduction.
Hmm.
Now I'm meeting all these people just from the podcasting,
Yeah.
bro. It's wild, man. And dude, it's good. Like right now, I've never been in a better place as far as like I have so many good people around me. Anything I get into now, it's like there's always massive support. People are reaching out to me. EJ, I hear you're getting into this. EJ, you're doing that. Get random texts like, hey, bro, anything you need, I got you. Any support, like you know what I'm saying? Like just I'm surrounded by such good energy right
Yeah.
now, and I think it's because of the energy I put out there.
Yeah. The
The
value.
energy I put out there, and then again, like I magnify that, especially through my podcast,
Hmm.
because again, the distribution where it's able
Yeah.
to go,
No,
man.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And like, for me, like you said, you just never know who's listening. So, my thing is every time I get on the podcast, I want to make sure I'm giving it like 110%. Because like you say, you never know who you're going to touch and reach.
Yeah. So it's crazy because I just did a speaking engagement up north in NorCal, and I did a presentation on podcasting. As a result of that, I guess a lot of people were so inspired by the process of podcasting, kind of like my story and how I got started with podcasting, that all these people are like starting a podcast now. And again, it makes me so happy because
That's
again, I see what it has done for me. So anyone who's been thinking about podcasting, like, dude, you just got to do it. You know what I'm saying?
It's super dope when like you go out there and you may inspire people to do something and they actually take action on it.
Yes,
That's the
yes.
best part.
So I don't know. Oh, I left this out as because I've been doing this podcasting for like a year and a half, closing in on 2 years. I've helped maybe at least 12 podcasts get up and running. You know what I'm saying? People who reached out to me, like I almost felt like it almost could be a career, like consulting, coaching. You know what I'm saying? But I haven't tapped into that because I don't know. I'm too busy, and I feel like I feel like that just wouldn't. You know, I want to help people, man. Sometimes it's not about the money. You know what I'm saying? But what I was trying to get at is I've been able to help people with their podcast. Now, of course, there's the half of them. It's like they actually do it, and then the other half, like it's like, hey, I gave you all these resources and I gave you all this feedback and input and everything I got, and you're kind of not doing anything with it. So that's why there was like that part, like, man, dude, maybe you should start coaching or charging, because then people actually will take it serious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But where I'm trying to get at is the people who I've been able to help and they're actually doing something with it. It makes me so happy, man. Absolutely. Because again, they're gonna know. I mean, there's a few people that already know. Like they're gonna come a time in their podcasting career, I guess you could say, and they're gonna realize, like, damn, this is what Ejay was talking about. Like, damn, this is, now I'm getting all these opportunities come my way. I'm getting people who, instead of reaching out to people to be on my podcast, people want to be on my podcast.
Yeah, want to be. Yeah.
Instead of, I've been wanting to meet so and so, man, I'm being introduced. I'm being invited to these events. Getting like all this exposure. I'm able to do all this other stuff, man, and I want people to experience that. Dude. That's why I encourage it so much, man. For anyone who's thinking about podcasting.
Yeah. Did you have any early struggles with podcasting?
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, besides the technical stuff and like editing and all that, but maybe speak, like anything.
Of course, yeah, dude. My number one stream episode is my first episode. And every time I listen to that, I cringe, man.
He was like, damn. Because
I'm like, you gotta think like, hey guys, Ejay Cruz here. This is the parables. So this is what we're gonna do today. We're gonna talk about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so awkward, man. Lack of confidence.
Right.
And that's why I encourage the thing, like, you just gotta keep doing it, because eventually you find your voice. You know what I'm saying? And just depending on your theme and the structure of your podcast, it just becomes natural, man. You know what I'm saying? Like us, dude, we're having a very coffee-like conversation, which is always good. You know what I'm saying? Because it's relaxed, it's chill. It's not so interview style. You're not here asking me Jeopardy questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like laid back. It's fun. Yeah, it's chill. You know what I'm saying? And I would say that it took me a while to find my voice. And again, I went through every little problem. Again, I know you said not the technical side, but even like fundamental parts too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how to kind of navigate a conversation, how to really highlight an emotional or pivotal part of the conversation or the story. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. You pick up on your skills. And in fact, there's a lot of people who actually tell me, Ejay, you're such a great interviewer. And I actually hate the word interview, because I don't feel like there's an interview. I feel like this is a conversation. It's a conversation. An interview is like, yo, asking just all these questions and then you answer me. It's like, okay, next question. Like, nah. You know what I'm saying? So
same thing.
So a lot of people have been telling me, Ejay, you're such a great interviewer. I'm like, in my head, I'm just like, I don't think I am. But I guess because a lot of people always ask me, Chris, like, bro, like, how do you ask your questions? You know what I'm saying? And dude, the truth, to be honest, is like, dude, I'm just curious.
Curiosity.
Like, dude, I'm not like the most brilliant guy, but I'm also not the most dumb. Most dumb. So like I'm in the middle. So more than likely, if I'm curious about like, hey, how did you get started with this? What was the idea behind this? Or what's this? What's that? Or how, who, what, when, where, why? More than likely, I'm sure my audience is curious too.
Yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
absolutely.
So yeah, dude, it's just it is what it is, man.
I'm wondering, like, when did you start developing that giving mentality? It's a person that's giving value, a person that's just wanting to give to people, and opposed to a lot of people have a taker's mentality. You know, when did you start developing that?
Yeah, dude. I think everyone goes through this.
And not to cut you off, like, so when I got your number from Matt,
Yeah.
I was sitting right next to him when he was texting you, and he texted you like, "Hey EJ," and you sent him like 4 or 5 messages like, what do you need? Whatever it is, I got you." Like, I was like, "Yep, there it is. That's it right there." Like, these are the type of people I need in my life, because Matt, shout out to Matt, provides enough value to you to where he texts you and you look at your phone, you're like, "Matt, I need to reply to this. What does he need?" Whatever it is. And then you are the type of person where, like, what, I got you, you know?
Yeah.
Opposed to some people, they call you, you look at your phone, and you're like, "Okay, let me put that ignore on me." They about to ask me or take something from me, you know?
So this is the problem right now. This is a huge, huge problem. And I swear one day it might be even a solo podcast episode. It might just be a rant on IG. I don't know. People have the value exchange concept all wrong, right? And giving value first, right? Because right now, like, there's all this preaching, especially in the entrepreneur self development world, like, give value first, blah 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 blah. But what the hell does that mean? You know what I'm saying? And I've had this discussion so many times. People have it all wrong. When you give value to someone, or help someone, or giving, right? Like exactly what you said. You do that, but you don't expect nothing in return.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The reason why you don't expect nothing in return is because if you don't get something in return, or you have expectations of something in return, you don't get it, you're just going to be let down. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So if I'm giving value to you, Chris, right, and I don't expect nothing in return, then I'm not going to be disappointed. You know what I'm saying? But that's just the giving person. And the reason why I give so much is because, one, people have given to me first. You know what I'm saying? And never expected nothing in return. So one, I like to pay it forward. Second is, I truly believe when you give, the universe repays you tenfold. Now, it may not pay you in the form of cash, right? But it could reward you in different ways. God will bless you in so many different ways. You just gotta recognize it.
Right. And it's going to come when you need it.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
Yeah. It may not come in the form of cash.
Right.
It may not come in the form of, like a hookup. Like,
Yeah,
you give
absolutely.
or a favor. Maybe it might come in the form of an opportunity. Maybe it might come in the form of a lead. Maybe it might come in the form of an introduction. Maybe it might come in the form of a new relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So people have it all twisted.
Absolutely.
I hate it when, like, I hate to say it, but I hate it when people are like, EJ, like, whatever you need, man, I got you. Like, you know what I'm saying? But then, like, dude, I could smell bullshit. Like, we're all common sense people. Like, when there's actually an agenda behind it. You know what I'm saying? Then all of a sudden it's like, hey, EJ, I'm wondering if you could do this for me, you could do that for me. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm still a giving person. But when you really want to help someone, or, be of value to someone, really mean it, man. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, don't think just because you gave it, all of a sudden, like, you have this sense of entitlement. Like, man, I did this for EJ. I would have thought he would have done this for me. Or I'm expecting this from him. I expect more time from him. Or, like, why isn't he giving me more attention? Like, no, it doesn't work that way. You know what I'm saying? If you're a giving person, it will show naturally and organically. You know what I'm saying? People have it all twisted, and it's driving me crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just because you're not saying the example. You know what I'm saying? You're giving it all wrong. And again, we're trying to teach this practice and pay it forward, and we're trying to teach our youth the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Stop expecting so much from people. You know what I'm saying? Like, figure it out yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude. And like, I want to go back to with Matt, dude. Like, I met him. He's done some work for me. I have much respect for him. You know what I mean? He's just that guy that I know in his heart that, like, he would he would do something for me if I really asked him to. You know what I'm saying? He's just the giving type, and I just have that, we have that mutual respect for each other, that if he needs something from me, I think he knows that I'll
Mm-hmm.
be there. But same time, and vice versa, I know if I need something from him, like a favor, he'll do it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just one of those like natural like friendships that you begin to establish. And like you said, those are the type of people you gotta surround yourself with, man. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? Stop expecting like all this stuff. Like, dude, just be a good human being.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a beautiful thing when you have those type of people around you and you can just reach out to anybody if you need something, or they can reach out to you, you know?
Yeah.
It's it's just, I don't know, it's just a beautiful thing. And me coming from, growing up in, I don't want to make it too much about me, but growing up in Sacramento, um, you see a lot of the people with a taker's mentality. And I come out here, surround myself with people like you, Matt. And it's just a beautiful thing, in my opinion,
Yeah.
for
I
sure.
think one of the things too is like what I'm noticing too is like if someone's willing to do a favor for you or do something for you, and you got to think about it, man. Some of the stuff, the value that's given to you, or whatever it may be, the favor, whatever it is, right? There's a price tag on that, right? Value, like that. Time is the most valuable asset
Yep.
to us, right? So when people tell me all the time, EJ, I got you with this, whether I don't know, let's say it's like a video edit, right? Or EJ, you're always welcome at my gym. You know what I'm saying? I'm a courteous dude. Like I don't like to over abuse that stuff.
Mm,
Like, dude, there's so many people. Like, I know a lot of people, right? A lot of people, we have that relationship, and it's always like, EJ, whatever you need, I got you. But I don't like to abuse that, dude. Like, dude, I
yeah.
know, dude, this is your business. This is your time. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's too where it kind of comes into play. I know Matt, he'd probably do a full edit for me. But dude, like this is his business, man. I want to support him.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? So I think people over abuse that. Like
yeah.
again, when people are trying to give value in whatever form that is, people kind of abuse it a little bit,
Makes sense.
and that's where like that kind of like that recognition of like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, I see what he really is
Hmm.
about. This person, he really
Absolutely.
isn't about like he is giving, but then it's kind of like okay, like come on, dude, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where's that respect or where's that courtesy? You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? I think that's more to me like that takes time to kind of like identify what those things are, those certain practices. But in reality, like, dude, it's just common sense, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's just me,
No, no,
man.
no. That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Super powerful stuff. And just to kind of wrap this up, what's next for EJ? What's the next thing? I know off camera you were talking about you want to get a studio for the podcast, but what's like the next thing?
Yeah, man. So what's crazy is a lot of people out there, you know, they're gonna be preaching and telling you all this stuff. Like, yeah, you gotta have a plan. You gotta have a plan. What are the steps you're gonna take to get there? What's the date? You know, all this stuff. And for me, I have so many different things going on right now that I kind of feel like in a week, I feel like my life might take a totally different path.
Right,
You know what
right.
I'm saying? I think I'm so in tuned with like how my life is and who I am and where God leads me that I'm just confident that wherever I go, I will succeed. You know what I'm saying? And where I'm trying to get at is just for instance, like these past 2 weeks, I got into two business ventures and they just came out of nowhere. They were opportunities I couldn't pass up. And it was crazy, man. It took over podcasting because my podcasting is like almost like number one in my what I'm doing now. But what I'm trying to say is like sometimes it's okay to say I don't know.
Mm,
And my answer to that question is I have an idea,
hmm.
but in reality I still don't know, and I'm okay with that. Now there's a huge difference though. If you say I don't know, that don't mean you shouldn't be doing anything.
Right.
You should still be striving, working your ass off to figure out and at least have an idea of where your path's headed.
Yeah.
But where I think it's headed is one again, podcasting is always gonna keep going. I want to keep doing it forever. I want to be like the Filipino Larry King, man.
I
the
respect
young
it.
the young version though, bro. You
Yeah,
feel me?
absolutely.
Um, keep doing that. I want to reach as many people as possible. I want to get all types of guests, high profile people who are in the public eye to people again who are yet to be discovered. I want to get my own studio, of course. My biggest goal, I'm jumping into a lot of business ventures where it's gonna put me in a position to have that financial freedom. Like I really want to be in that space where I could decide, I could be the CEO of my life. Like I could decide how to spend my time. And I want to make so much money. And again, here comes money. It's the honest truth though. I want to make so much money where that money could be used as a tool to accelerate what I'm trying to do with the world.
A tool.
Yeah, a
Keyword.
tool. Yes.
Tool.
Money only magnifies who you are, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I want to make as much money as possible so I could, accelerate what I'm trying to do, inspire the world. You know what I'm saying? And again, serial hobbies, I want to jump into lots of different industries and business ventures that do excite me or like challenges me. You know what I'm saying? Where it fits like who I am. Like you look at it like, oh, dude, that's totally fucking Ejay Cruz. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
things that are fun, it has to be fun, it has to make sense. It does have to make money, but most important to me, it has to have a purpose or it has to be of service of some kind. You know what I'm saying? It has to serve people,
Dope.
Inspire people, impact them in some
Dope.
shape or form.
No, that's super dope. I respect that answer because with me, people ask me like, "Oh, what's your 5-year plan? What do you see yourself doing when you're 30?" I'm like, "Look, it's a really similar answer. I'm like, there's things I want to accomplish and I love to have by then, but my biggest thing is giving it everything I have every single day.
Yes.
That's it. That's literally what I tell people. Like, I'm gonna give it my all every single day, and that's it. And then everything else is gonna fall the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, dude.
So,
You don't have to have it all figured out, but again, there's a fine line. Don't be sitting there and just act, waiting for something to happen to you, man. You know what I'm saying? Go out there, meet new people, put yourself in positions where, that challenges you. You'll never know where God's going to lead you, man. And dude, I could tell you right now, like one conversation, I tell us all the time, one conversation with someone, one meeting.
yep. Can change your life.
Could change that. Could be your biggest breakthrough, man. Dude, if I know there's an opportunity to meet someone new or be in a place like where, I could have a really good conversation with someone or things like that, I will make time to be there, bro. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? I made time to do this podcast because I know I would be inspired by you. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's just things like that. Like you got to choose your time wisely.
Yeah, absolutely. I go to Abundant Living, by the way. I don't know what church you go to.
I'm actually trying to find a new church.
Abundant Living, come through.
Okay.
Rancho. So, but yeah, the reason why I brought that up is because our pastor, Pastor Diego, he spoke about stepping into God and stepping into what God has called for you. And once you step into it, he'll step in and he'll do his work. But he wants us to take that step. Like you said,
powerful, man.
Yeah, it's like what you're saying. Like you can't just be sitting around doing nothing. You have to take that time out and go to that meeting or do that podcast, because once you take that step, then God is going to take his step and do the rest.
Yeah. It's again, like, how do you expect people to like, everyone I feel has a purpose and talents in their own respective rights, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you expect people to discover you or people to know about you if you're putting yourself out there? I will hop on any freaking podcast in the world because I just know what podcasting does.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But I want my name out there because if someone, dude, like I already know what I could do, my capabilities. I know I could do some really crazy things for this world, right? But if I have an opportunity where someone could discover me and be like, wow, dude, this kid's talented. I want to harness his powers. Let's go. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like again, like go out there, put yourself out there, challenge yourself, put yourself in positions to meet new people.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you just never know where it's going to lead you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so before I let my guest go, I know you gave a lot of value, a lot of great information, but what is one piece of practical advice that you can give to the audience that they can just go out and apply today? It can be anything. It can be podcast related. It can be literally anything.
Mm-hmm.
We'll end it on that.
Man, I touched on it. We were just talking about it, but I really say, because I'm really about people and networking, man. I really am. Just, dude, put your this is the honest truth. And again, we were preaching about this the whole episode, but just put yourself in uncomfortable situations, and go out there and just meet new people, right? I think for me, I used to feel like I was alone. Because I used to be like, I think I was crazy, right? I have all these freaking ideas. I didn't know how to execute those ideas, right? Then I started joining groups, entrepreneur groups, like RJ Syndicate. You know what I'm saying? I met some of the most remarkable people there. People who think like me, people who execute like me, who have that camaraderie like me, who are supportive, who uplift you, the environment that you should be in, all positive, all support, all giving, not expect nothing in return. You know what I'm saying? So what I mean by that is when you put yourself in an uncomfortable situation and find yourself a group of people that support you, that put you in that environment, that uplift you, that pushes you to the next level. People that like you don't want to let down, but at the same time, you know, they don't let you down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's so
Absolutely.
powerful. You gotta feed your environment is so important because that plays into your mind. Your mind will play into your actions, man. So I would say go out there. It's gonna be uncomfortable because you're going to foreign territories.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be meeting people you don't know. These people might be very very like intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because they might just be at a different level than you are, whatever you want to call it. But you'll be surprised who you'll meet, and you'll be surprised who lends you a hand.
Right.
You'll be surprised who wants to help you. You'll be surprised what you can learn. You know what I'm saying? I would go out there and try to identify yourself with a group of people. Find your circle, like we talked about. Might take some time, but find your core group of people that you can identify with. And I promise you, dude, like you'll discover stuff about yourself. The things you've been working on will accelerate like crazy, and things will just lead to other things, man.
Dope. Super dope. Ejay Cruz, everybody.
Hey,
Let the people know where they can find you, social media, whatever you want to let them know.
yes,
The
sir.
Parable Podcast. Let them know.
All right. Well, first off, again, I want to thank you so much for having me on. As far as my podcast, if you guys are interested, it's called The Parables. It does have an Instagram at The Parables Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to reach to me, I would say the best platform is probably Instagram. It's Ejay Cruz, ITS. My name, EJAYCRUZ. I answer all my DMs. You can also check out my website, I guess. It's still being what do you call it, revised, but
Mm-hmm.
www.ejcruz.com. Otherwise, yeah, any questions, any help with podcasting, reach out to me. I'll be glad to help, man. It's about giving, for sure.
Appreciate your time. And it's your boy Chris. I'll catch y'all next week.
Hey, let's go.
Dope. Appreciate